Hello there, lovely ones. So before I go into the explanation of how to solve for x when you've got a cubic polynomial, why don't you give it a go and then come back? But otherwise, let's just get to the explanation. Explanation. Anyway, so the first thing we need to do with any equation is always make it equal to 0. And in this case, it's not. So let's rush through this and quickly write it down. So we've now made it equal to 0. The next thing we need to do, now with cubic polynomials and factorizing them and all sorts of stuff like that, you're probably going to factorize it first by using the factor theorem, which is almost trial and error. It's more done with intelligence behind it. But you substitute a list of numbers into here until you get to a point where that value on this side has the same value as this on that side, which of course is 0. Okay, so we went through and we started by substituting 1 in to see if that worked as a factor, and it does, which means that our first factor, and let's write it down here, is going to be x minus 1. And we're going to be left with something in the brackets, and this is of course where it's a lot of fun. We've got to figure out the 3 terms that are there. We've got that one, and those 2 are the easier ones, and the reason they're easy is because something times by x is going to give me x cubed, and of course that is going to be x squared. And then for the last term, something times by negative 1 is going to give me 6, and of course that's going to be negative 6. Where the fun really begins is finding this middle term over here. Let's just quickly tick off that we've done those 2, and we're going to factorize what's left, but only once we've done this. Okay, so in one of my previous videos I spoke about how to do this and 2 different routes we could possibly take. And the bits of information we have. So at the moment I'm writing down in the green are the terms that are in the first bracket, which is x and negative 1. And then these blue numbers, and the 2 different routes we could possibly take. We've got negative 2x squared, so we could be aiming for that answer, or if we wanted to do another method, we could be going for negative 5x. So let's just go through this and let's divide it up. And remember, the answer on this side we're hoping to get to is negative 2x squared. And the way we're going to do that is multiply each of these by something so that we get to a point where, well, yes. Anyway, let's go for it. And the 2 terms we're going to be using are x squared and negative 6. Let's try x squared over here. X times x squared gives me x cubed, so that's not going to work, so I'll erase it. And the reason it won't work is because we're looking for squared. So then let's try x times negative 6, and of course that's not going to work because I'm looking for something x squared. So then we move to the bottom, and let's do a minus x times by x squared. That gives us negative x squared, and that of course does make us happy because we're looking for something x squared. What added to negative x squared will give us negative 2x squared, and that's of course another negative x squared. So what are we multiplying this by over here? That is our middle term. It's going to be x times by negative x, and that is the value that goes over here. If you'd used the other route, in other words the negative 5x, let's just quickly go through that. You're looking for an answer that is negative 5x when they're added together, and we're finding the products of things over here. We're going to start with that first term in the first bracket, which is x squared, and of course we know that's x cubed, so that's not going to work. And then we're going to try the other term, which was negative 6, x times negative 6, and that is negative 6x, and that's great because then we know we've got to find out what 1 times by gives us x, and of course, well, yeah, it gives us positive x, and that's going to be negative x over there, that's multiplied by. And that's, of course, the answer that we got to. So now we have taken that out as a common factor. The last step is to factorize what's left over. If you are struggling with factorizing or it's not working out great, remember you've got the quadratic formula, and you can use that. And then once we've factorized it, we use the 0 product rule to write down what the different answers are, and that is it. So dears, that's enough from me. Much love.